Oh, we're live, right. Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry, crumbs. It seems that sort of the 2020 voodoo is continuing. So I'm here talking with Rakhee. However, she is invisible, but she is here. Rakhee, will you say hello? Give folks a few seconds. And in that time, would you mind writing on the thing, Rakhee, to tell people where we are? That would be great. Okay, now, guys, because I think that we should just get cracking because it's 13 minutes past 13, which is a great time to crack on. So what I thought is, while we're waiting for folks to catch up, I wanted to ask you about the small steps and about how your small steps are going. First of all, I thought I could really just have a chat to myself, as it looks like, about what small steps mean and why we came up with a small step challenge. So basically, the small steps challenge is because we know that doing, especially doing a home yoga practice, but starting up with anything new, it's just overwhelming. And it seems like it's really hard to do things. And it feels like yoga can be daunting. I mean, it's got a terrible, I would say, branding problem that you have to be flexible and you have to be able to be fit and white and all of these things that a lot of us aren't. And the other branding problem it's got is that we're kind of used to seeing 60, 90-minute classes full of pretzels. And we think that anything other than that isn't quite yoga. Well, that was kind of where we came up with the small steps challenge. Rakhee, do chime in, because hopefully people are starting to find us. Tell us about your take on small steps.
Only if you are a voice, only if you can actually hear you. So, would you let
Sorry, I'm trying to sort out my tech issues, and that's not very good. Oh no, bugger. It's the same link as before. Oh, guys, we're not having much luck. You know what? We are going to make lemon. What is it? We're going to make lemonade out of lemons. And if we can't hear Rakhee, then maybe, Rakhee, you could just contribute on the comments and things. How about that? Okay, so nobody can hear you, Rakhee. Okay, thanks for the feedback, guys. So what Rakhee's going to do is log out and log in, and we're going to see if that's going to work. And that's, it just doesn't look very professional. I'm really sorry. We're going to see if it works this time. I'm inviting Rakhee in. There's a lot of feedback, and she's gone. So what I think that I do is I have a chat with you about the Small Steps Challenge, and Rakhee can join us on the group. So hang on, Rakhee, hi.
Hello.
I don't. It's still not working. So Rakhee, I do think I'm just going to go ahead. And if you just join us, and the only thing is Rakhee was going to do a practice. So what we could do is I could do a 15-minute chat with you guys, because this is now, it's very boring one tech.
Yeah. I look live on my screen.
Oh, are you?
My device, yeah.
Ah, great. So, guys, can you see Rakhee now? Sorry. Can you see and hear Rakhee? So I really need this feedback to know if we should be talking together or not. So I can't see it on my device. It's not working.
Yeah. So it's been...
Yay, she's there! Rakhee, welcome, welcome, welcome. You know what? The best things are when we have to wait a little bit.
The best things are better late than never.
Sorry, people, and thank you for your patience. I'm really, really chuffed that you stayed with us. So, Rakhee, tell us yours. Everyone's had enough of my chat.
Well, I was thinking, seeing we've had this moment of frazzle, how about if we do a little bit of breathing? I'll do a little bit of journaling, and we'll get into the core of what small steps is. I think Patricia posted up earlier that she wanted some more journaling tips. So I'm going to do a little mini journaling and some breathing, because it's lunchtime. I'm sure lots of you are working from home. If you want to say if you're working or not, then please do. And hopefully this will be a lovely, nourishing pause for you during your working day. And in fact, really all I wanted to add about small steps is that's what it's about. This is there to support you. So yoga shouldn't be a chore, and neither should the changes you're making. This should be a fun thing to actually help you to lead your life. So in many ways, you know, yoga is the means to an end. It's not necessarily the end in itself. So let's make it fun. And why don't we begin by breathing and maybe shaking off all these technical difficulties. So if everyone is up for it, so Leah's saying she's working from home but out for her lunchtime walk. So if you are walking or moving around, then you'll be able to join this in and use it on the replay to maybe try the journaling. But if you're walking, use this as a walking meditation. Otherwise, please gently lower or close your eyes and tune in to your breath. So I've been finding in winter it's really nice to rub my hands together and create a little bit of warmth or friction and really begin to move our energy around. And then you can exhale onto your hands and then either bring them to your heart or to your belly or the tops of your thighs, somewhere that feels really comfortable, and begin to tune in to your breath. And as you breathe in, you'll notice that you're filling up with fresh new energy, which is something we need in these cold, dark winter lunchtimes. So breathe in with inspiration and you can sigh it out. And taking a breath in, fill up, inspire a really nice, juicy inhale, gentle, not forced, but full of fresh energy, and sigh it out. And let's take one more breath together. And you can release anything you no longer need, and whether you've been feeling a little bit frazzled about when this moment was going to start, we're here now. We've started and all is well. And continue to breathe, and as you do so, bring a little shape to your breath. So follow your breath, and as you breathe down into your belly, maybe notice a shape forming, and then as you exhale, follow it. I find it really useful to imagine my breath almost shaped as a teardrop. So inhaling, filling, and then as you exhale, that shape is round and circular. And the breath, really, it does have a beginning and an end, but it's also this lovely cycle. So you might be imagining a square or a circle, but does your breath have a shape? And as you continue to breathe, maybe add a color into it. So your breath is colored. And I like to imagine it a lovely, golden, bright, luminescent breath, filling me with fresh energy and inspiration. And as you exhale, imagine you're sharing your energy, your inspiration with those around you. And inhale to draw in golden breath, and exhale to share inspiration. And take another 2, 3, 4 rounds of breath. All the length of our breath is different. So take another 4 to 5 rounds of breath. And I am still here. I haven't disappeared again. But I'm going to leave you in silence just for a moment so you can regroup, and then we'll have a quick journaling session and we'll answer questions. And make your next breath, the last one that's golden or whichever color you've chosen, and allow your breath to return to normal. Let go of any shape or color or texture you're imagining. And as it returns to normal, you might want to blink open your eyes. And that was really short. That was a super speedy practice, but hopefully you're feeling a little more present and a little more grounded. And I wanted to do something a little bit quick and practical, just to show how easy it is to practice in short bursts and in little mini steps. And I think with small steps, we've selected classes that are short, because I think sometimes we feel we ought to be doing something longer, but really something quick can be so powerful. So in amongst all the slight tech craziness, I didn't ask everyone to grab a paper and pen, but hopefully you have something, and or you might want to just grab those now. And I know I had a question this morning from Patricia asking about journaling, and I just wanted to reiterate a couple of points that really journaling is for you, and there are no rules. So not the same thing doesn't work for everyone. But what I find most powerful with journaling is to either use prompts or just to write. So I literally get pen to paper and I write for 3 pages. Sometimes it goes over, and sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I do a lot shorter, and I don't beat myself up about that. So it really, I think it can feel like it has to be a specific way or a process. Bullet pointed lists work. It's a moment for you to really get back to yourself. And if you are signed up to the Short Steps course, you'll find there's a little PDF link on the challenge page. And if you download that, there are lots of prompts. So really, I'm doing this mini session now to show you that it can be really quick and easy, but by no means feel that you have to do the prompts within that booklet. But I'm just going to do a little mini journaling quick exercise. So if you've got paper ready, have a think back over the last week and list out your 5 major activities. So these couple of exercises I'm sharing with you, I've adapted from Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, which is a really great resource for journaling. But over the last week, list out your 5 major activities and have a notion of how much time you gave to each one. So you can list them all out and then think about your time as being 100% and what percentage of your time did each of those activities take. So we'll just we'll do this really quickly, and you can come back to this and spend a little bit longer on this. But yeah, just get a sense. And I know some of you lovely movers were with us on the retreat, so you may have spent a lot of time practicing, which is really wonderful. So once you've listed out your 5 main activities and given a notional amount of time, and this is just a quick exercise, notice which ones were things that you really wanted to do and which of those activities were shoulds. So did you spend 80% of time doing something you should have done? And is the time you did something you wanted to do kind of reduced? Or is it the other way? So it's just to get a sense of where your time is going, because I think so often we find that time slips away from us. So this is just to really think about where your time goes. It's just giving yourself that, and just to understand what is really taking our time. And once you've made that list, have a look and think about what it is you can change. And I find, and I think we know this as a truism, that social media can sap our time, but sometimes we just don't allow ourselves to do what we want to. And so if you're finding that in your list, you're spending more time doing the shoulds than the want tos, then you can change it. And if you're not, then you might celebrate that. So really feel good about the fact that you are allowing yourself time for nourishment and something really positive. So if you've done loads of yoga and feeling good about it, that's fantastic. Pop that in the comments box, and we'll all give you a high five and celebrate with you and feel really happy. And this will hopefully, that's what Small Steps is about, is making those little changes that can support you. So Colette's having trouble, it keeps freezing. So I'm not sure if the whole screen is doing it or not. So it might just be an internet connection issue. So I apologize if we're freezing. And I'm just going to move quickly onto one more really quick exercise. I'll outline it, and perhaps later on today you can spend a little longer on this. But if you, on your sheet of paper, draw a circle, and it can be an imperfect circle. Imperfect circles are great. It's been a while since I got out a compass and a pencil. So those of you homeschooling may have compasses more to hand, but draw a little circle. And for the purposes of this exercise, you're going to split that circle into 4. So a little pie of 4. So split your circle into quarters and label each quarter. So 1 can be body or embodiment, 2 can be happiness, 3 health, and 4 living sustainably. So embodiment, body, happiness, health, and living sustainably. And I've picked these because they're some of the areas we're focusing on in Small Steps. However, you can make these pies quite a lot, and you can change them. So you might want to put work, relationships, friends, family, whatever seems appropriate. And then now think about the very edge of the circle, the nice big fat end of your slice rather, as being really fulfilled, and the end closer to the middle as being less so. And just make a dot as to how you feel you support your needs in those areas. So are you really looking after your health or your happiness, in which case you're right by the edge? Or if you're not, pop it right in your little dot towards the middle. And then when you've done that, just join up your dots and you'll see you've got a funny little shape, but you'll be able to see where some of those inconsistencies are. And just as a launch pad for small steps, I just thought that would be a fun place for you to bring a little attention to the areas you really want to support yourself in more over the coming weeks. And really, after we've finished with this live, you can continue to write about these areas or consider them more and think about ways in which you could redress this imbalance if you see one, and just bring a little more balance, a little more equilibrium to your life. And it might not be possible, and it's not wrong. This is merely journaling is a way of checking in with how you are and what is, a bit like meditation. So there's no ultimate wrong and right, but if you are feeling that you need a little more of one thing or the other, then this is a really fantastic opportunity to think about that and maybe set an intention. And it might be that you have already set an intention for the next few weeks that you're spending with us on the Small Steps course, and we'd love to hear your intentions. So what is it that you want to change, if you feel comfortable sharing that, and why are you seeking change? So if you want to post those into the comments box, it would be really lovely for us all to begin this this challenge together with some of those thoughts. And of course, if you have any questions about the exercises we've done, I did rather gallop through them because I know that you've possibly got a short amount of time, but I also wanted to show you that these practices and things we do for ourselves needn't eat into lots of time, and sometimes a short burst can be really powerful. So if you do have any intentions or thoughts or questions, pop them into the chat box now. But yeah, that's really what I wanted to share with you to start this off before we have a slightly more general chat about small steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. I like that, Rakhee. Thank you. I think it's really my little box on my post-it note. I have plenty of areas for improvement, you'll be pleased to know. But what I would be interested in also is to hear what columns that you guys think are more relevant than the body, happiness, health and sustainability. Because I think that those are good ones, no ones that resonate for me. But if you guys have any other thoughts, I think it's nice to share. Oh, we've got loads of lovely comments. Yay.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I'm hoping to cultivate more kindness to myself and others. That's so lovely. To be honest, I think if there's one thing that any of us could do, it would be that. I mean, in the world, in our lifetimes, I think that is the most beautiful intention ever. And Claire, my intention for today is to nurture. Right now, I'm taking it one day at a time, nurturing myself with my body and mind, yeah, with no judgment. And again, that's just pure self-compassion, and it's acceptance for where we're at, because we're at somewhere in our world history of great change, things feeling tumultuous, and for us, little bodies going through it, that's really, really hard. And I think that really standing up for ourselves, I liked on the retreat when Lucy said, for our mind to be our greatest ally. for us to really be nurturing ourselves, supporting ourselves, to be like cheerleading ourselves. Yeah, we can go off the path, and that's okay, to get it wrong, to be imperfect.
We've also had a question from Kate, who's asking, can you tell us a bit more about what is meant by embodiment? And yes, it's a phrase we hear everywhere now, and I puzzle over this one a lot as well. And then now I've found myself using it, so a little bit of jargon creeping in. But really, what I mean by it, and I'm sure everyone has their own definitions, but when I use it, I mean it to mean really listening to yourself and responding to your body's needs. And I think we often override what our body needs, and also sometimes our mind can take over. So, you know, I think we know we're hungry, but you know, we might feel our stomach empty or growling, and our mind goes, no, you mustn't eat. And really, embodiment is about not over privileging your mind all the time, and sometimes listening to your body. And really, I think we hear a lot about embodiment practices, and sometimes we can just move and feel good. And I noticed that someone else Tash was saying, making conscious movement a part of our daily routine. And in fact, sometimes we can move and feel good, and we don't always need to analyze why. And it's sometimes we are just responding to our body's needs. So so Kate, that's what I meant. And in the PDF there's a little more information about it.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's a great thing to think about. And for me, embodiment means it means not relying on my head, because I know that my head is constantly chattering. It's got an opinion about everything. It's always wanting to say, oh, I think that this is good and this is bad, and we should be doing this, and oh, look at that over there, and look at that. So the head is full of all of this mostly useless information. Just, you know, it's very, for me, my head is not to be trusted. For me, it's a very random generator of thoughts and things which are, I think that I'm discerning, but actually it's just a very untrustworthy vehicle for me. Whereas if I'm feeling embodied, for me, it's a question of, oh, how does this make me feel? And that embodied feeling for me is very different to what do I think about it? So that kind of, and when making a life decision, when wondering what I should eat for breakfast, oh, I should eat this and this and this because it's, well, what does my body really feel like right now? What do I really need? What is it crying out for? And I think for me, Kate, that's what it is as well, to be embodied, is to be really aware of what it is that I'm feeling. What is that my body is swaying me towards? What is it that I'm needing? How is it that this body can interact with another body, as opposed to two judgmental minds chatting to each other and being very intellectual? And yes, we agree with this and we disagree with this, but how do we feel? How do we make each other feel? Yeah, that for me is kind of the process of becoming embodied. And it's not an easy process for me, because I'm naturally a very sort of airy, in my head thoughts person. But I think that it's really useful to gain that feeling of embodiment. So good question.
And I love Claire's comment as well about nurture and taking it one day at a time. That's really, really wise. I think we need to take it one moment at a time, breath by breath. That's really lovely as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Tasha's comment. I want to restart making conscious movement, yoga, part of the daily routine again. Be less stiff when getting up from the desk. My goal, and I like a goal, be ready to face one of the long forest yoga classes. But you know what, Tash? It's okay if you do decide to participate in one of those classes and then you need to be in child's pose for 3/4 of the class, that is still you doing your practice. You don't need to do the crazy moves just because they suggest that it's good for their bodies.
And it's responding to your body's needs.
Exactly.
And moving when you feel stiff at a desk. And is it just me, or are we all sitting at desks a lot longer during lockdowns and whilst working from home? So so yeah, schedule in some time to move.
And I would say, because I wrote that blog about it last week that you published, Rakhee, about the sneaky stretches and the micro stretches. So for me, that's also what Small Steps is about. So even if you don't manage to schedule in the yoga class, can you just sit at your desk and sometimes just shake out your wrists and sometimes just flop your shoulders? And when you're waiting for kettle to boil, just do some shoulder rolls, because I mean, my shoulders get incredibly stiff while I sit and work and get all tense. So for me, that's also what it's about. It's like you might feel less stiff if when you're working, you're able to be a bit more embodied.
And breathing. I think sometimes just taking 3 breaths, just pausing. So
yeah,
I think it's quite interesting to notice when you're not breathing, when you're holding your breath. And, you know, I think sometimes we're working really hard. And I don't know, Kat, do you think you were holding your breath when all the tech was melting down? Probably yes.
Without a shadow of doubt. Absolutely.
And then I think if you're not sure what to do with breathing, there are so many like really short little 5-minute breath work classes on an MFML that you can just put them on and stick on headphones, and you don't even have to move away from your desk. You can look like you're doing something, you know, very work orientated when doing that.
Or do it the other way around. So my sneaky way of doing it is, and again, and this is a weird one, if you also have a partner or whatever who's furloughed, and you're both of you trying to work at home, like I do. But sometimes I'm working when I look like I'm not working. So it's the two things. Sometimes when you look like you're working, but actually you're meditating or doing something else. But sometimes you look like you're doing something else, but actually you're working. So I will often be working when I'm hoovering, and I don't mean typing, but really thinking and letting things absorb and just be like, how does this feel? Was that idea a good one? Do I want to send that email that I just drafted? Do I want to, I might have words, like I say, I have a newsletter ricocheting around my head as I'm on a dog walk or hoovering, or, you know, so it could be like that the other way around, that you kind of find that you're able to mix it up a bit. Oh, no, you signed up to Dan's Breathwork Challenge. Now that's a good one. Have you done that one, Rakhee?
I've done bits of it. I haven't actually worked through the whole thing.
It's interesting. That's what I'd say, because it's so different to, I mean, obviously you can go onto Movement for Modern Life, onto our breathwork page, and find out all the different very traditional yogic styles of breath and the different breathwork tools. But the reason why Dan's is quite interesting is because it's like an experiment in breathwork. It's like, let's just experiment with breath retention. Let's experiment with breathing faster, with breathing slower, with doing 4-part breath, 3-part breath. And it's just sort of, okay, here's this amazing tool, our breath. Let's see what happens. And I quite like that. And it's like not taking it so seriously. It's not like, this is the correct way for yogis to breathe.
And there's a brilliant talk one of the lives Dan did for us last year. He talks about the breath as well. So if you're doing Dan's Breathwork Challenge, that's on our YouTube channel, or I'll try and reshare it as well.
Oh, thank you.
In the movers group. And the other breathing class that's really interesting to explore is Naomi Absalom's got one where she has 2 very different breaths. So one is with that deep, long breath retentions, but then a really soft, gentle kind of breath that when I am feeling really frazzled, I love doing that really soft, gentle breathing that really calms you down. So all sorts of interesting things you can do with the breath. And Tash is saying, really recognizing when you hold your breath, because I think that's also a real way of building up tension, and you know, and I think that these are the really small things we can do to kind of address things that may otherwise grow, and we might just feel really grumpy, but maybe that's because we haven't been breathing or eating or drinking, which is another small step. Drink more water.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that, Tash. Tash is saying, I hold my breath in the kitchen and putting things in the kitchen cupboard, and now Tash breathes properly even when getting out the pans. It's true. It's amazing when we hold our breath, and a beautiful meditation to notice when we're doing it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's just a useful tool. And for me, the breath also relates to the sustainability of practice. So during a super intense class, I might find that I lose my breath almost, and then I know that I'm not practicing sustainably as well. So that sustainability part for me is about our sustainability of our yoga practice as much as it is about, you know, sustainability of us within the planet and the ecosystem. So how much, you know, do we think that the yoga that we're doing now, is that appropriate for the body that we'll have in 5-10 years time? Is that feeding? Is that nurturing that body? Is it nurturing the body that we will have as well as our body right now? Or are we trying to be the body that we had 10 years ago? So I think for me, that's also part of the sustainability piece.
Yeah, and I think sustainability of practice and what we can sustain in our lives is really useful to consider, because as much as we think we'd like to do it all, we can't do it all. So if you decide you want to do something, something else has to give way. Otherwise, it isn't sustainable. So, and I think quite often, and this year may be a little different, just because it's circumstances mean it might be quite hard to make some of those resolutions. But most typically, in the new year, we make these resolutions, and they're huge, aren't they? We're going to walk 10 miles a day whilst, you know, knitting our own yogurt, or whatever else it might be. But is that sustainable? You can probably do it for 2 days and have a really good time, but then that's just a holiday, isn't it? It's not sustainable. So it's really thinking about what can you sustainably do, and thinking about how your practice changes. And I think the way I practice and what I practice has changed as well. And there will be days when we listen to our bodies that tell us that we want something really strong, and there are other days where we think, actually, if I do something really strong again, you know, 17th day in a row, I might just break. So, and then you might just get so freaked out by something, it's hard to do it. So I think small and often is often better too.
Yeah. I think that small and often is much more powerful as well, because it's that thing of doing something in a big way. It sort of gives us a striving mindset as well. And I think that can often get in our way if we're really wanting to do something, wanting to achieve something, as opposed to having a feeling of easefulness around it. Like, can I do 3 minutes of yoga a day, even if that 3 minutes involves just mindful experimentation with my wrist joint? Yeah, that's doable, and that feels easeful, and that will give us a more spacious feeling in our body, perhaps, than that kind of pressure.
And I found that was a real tipping point for me, as I used to think that, you know, I used to resolve to do like a certain amount of yoga every day. and I could not sustain it, and I felt guilty, and that's just not very nice. You know, you're beating yourself up for not doing it, and you're feeling rubbish, and you don't have time, and you just feel worse. So I just thought, well, why? Where is the rule that says you have to do X amount of yoga a day? And then when you let go of that and just say, well, what's sustainable is to do this bit every day, and then everything else is a bonus, and then you feel brilliant. So and I do that now. I try and do that with everything, not always successfully. I do like to beat myself up. Well, I don't like it, but I do beat myself up a lot about things. But that's not sustainable either.
No, that's the thing, and it is the getting rid of perfectionism, getting rid of the unhelpful thoughts in our minds, and just focusing on how our body feels and what it needs. That might be a sort of more sustainable way of keeping ourselves happy and healthy as well, because it's just really tuning in. And somebody said I like this, Patricia, I want to learn to trust my body and recognize it works hard for me. I love that. And I think that feeling of trust in ourselves, that we have the answers. We are the only judge of what is right for us. And nobody else will know if you should be doing a crow or a child's pose right now. But you can judge that. And it is getting that trust in yourself, and you always know the answer.
And I think we're now almost coming up to a year where we've been living under restraints. And what, you know, when we first went into lockdown last spring, I think there was this big push, wasn't there, that people were doing all sorts of things, and you were doing new things and trying things out, because we'd suddenly had this big, almost traumatic experience, and everything had changed. But to sustain that level of doingness is difficult. So in fact, you know, I think picking the small but more frequent is more sustainable. I think sustaining all of everything is really hard. And I think for those that are finding it really hard at the moment, I think my real feeling was when we went into this lockdown, there was a lot of kind of tensing up around, but it was really hard, and the kids and the winter and all of this, is that you know, be kind to yourself. You don't need to sustain this forever, and so just doing a little something, even if it is 5 minutes of breathing or a little stretch or sneaking off, you know, we're not super people. Well, we are super people, but we don't need to do everything, and we can just be. And I think maybe a really good small step is maybe spend a few minutes just being, just, I don't know, staring at the clouds.
I love that. So I think that's a really beautiful way as well to, I'm just aware that we're in our lunchtime, and I realized that we took a bit of time to sort out the tech, and thank you so much for your patience. But your time is precious. So unless you guys have final questions, Rakhee, do you have final thoughts?
My final thought is just keep it small. I think keep it small, keep it sustainable, and keep talking to us, keep asking us questions. You know, if you want to post in the movers group, or if you've got questions or thoughts or inspiration, or you want to share, in fact, any intentions or how it's going, know that this community is there, and we're there to respond, even if you don't have anything immediate, and for people that requested specific things or any questions, we can answer those later as well. So if you're confused still about the journaling or the classes or what you should do, then we're here to answer them. But really, rule of thumb is keep it small.
Yeah, I agree. And just I think we also just need to go easy on ourselves, because last year was a horror. this year has been really, really hard so far for so many of us. So I think just going easy on yourself and knowing that we're here, you can chat to us, we're all supportive, and we're all going through a journey together. But the nice thing is I think that we're all on a journey of, we're all looking for our own truth. And I really like that. I think all of us here are looking to become a little bit kinder, more truthful to ourselves, to listen to our bodies so that we can serve ourselves and each other in doing that. And so just know that you're supported by a group of people who have your interests at heart. And that's all of you. Because I really feel that, you know, we're a lovely band of people and we're all really here for each other. And it's knowing, yeah, we can kick each other up the butt and say, stay accountable and do your practice. But also we can be kind to each other and we can really know that we're here for each other when we inevitably disappoint ourselves or we don't reach whatever perfect vision we thought it was going to be. Let's all just be a little bit kinder to ourselves. That would be great. And, oh, thank you, Patricia. Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Everybody is super encouraging and uplifting. I always get such a surge of gratitude after chatting with you guys. And yeah, we're all in it together, different boats, doing different things, but I feel that we're all here for a reason. We're all doing the practices so that we can be a little bit kinder to ourselves and each other. All right, Rakhee, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I loved that little exercise. Things to work on. And I love your chat about the journaling as well, because I found that really useful as well. So thank you, Rakhee. And thank you for putting together the Small Steps course, because Rakhee, of course, is the person who actually does the work behind it. So I really appreciate that. And I know that Rakhee, you know, for you, the practice and the work of yoga is your work. So that's important. That's really great to know. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone. And it's been lovely to have your company as well. Claire's saying lovely to have company during the day, but we're here. Post in the group. You might not see us, but we'll definitely reply.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's lovely to have you all here. Thank you so much. And take good care of yourself. Stay very safe and well and happy.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.